This bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Tonight on the South Today, nearly a year on from the Christchurch mosque attacks which killed 51 people, a Dunedin Muslim leader says racism is still prevalent. Some of the acts in Dunedin's Fringe Festival are promising to tickle people's funny bones. And cyclists planning a ride during their next summer holidays in central Otago will have a cycle trail available for them. Kia ora, good evening. I'm Daryl Baser. When it comes to discrimination, Otago Muslim Association President Mohammed Rizwan doesn't mince words. A year on from the deadly terror attacks against Muslims in Christchurch, Mr Rizwan says New Zealand still has a long way to go in terms of religious and racial tolerance. As the first anniversary of the terror attacks on two Christchurch mosques looms, the president of the Otago Muslim Association says everyday racism is still alive and well in the country.
Well, I mean, the fact that people believe New Zealand is not a racist place, they're probably living in a fairyland, because it is. I mean, there is racism because we experience it, being a minority of different colour, of a different faith, I suppose, or hitting a faith. So we do experience it and we know there is racism.
He says members of the Muslim community report racist incidents to the police around the country prior to the attack that killed 51 people on March 15th last year. And members of Dunedin's Muslim community have experienced racism in the period since. It's something that also saddens the kaitiaki of the Aotearoa New Zealand Peace Embassy.
The thing that I think we need to be centering on, though, is post-racism. How do we get to this new place? How do we get to the promised land?
Mohammed Rizwan says discrimination isn't new to people who follow Islam, especially women who wear a hijab, as people see it as a mark of being Muslim. However, he believes one way to a promised land, as Gawley puts it, is intrinsic to the Islamic faith.
And another big part of it was moving on. I don't know if you heard the speech from one of the guys who actually gave it on the National Remembrance Day, is about forgiveness as well. So part of moving on was, trying to forgive the perpetrator or what he did, because that's the only way you can move on.
He says the Islamic faith's teaching on forgiveness are integral to people finding a common ground to move forward. While as the anniversary approaches, Paul Gawley has a challenge to Kiwis from all walks of life about everyday so-called casual racism.
We will see the best and the worst of us in this year as people reflect on that and deny or agree about things. And the most important thing is, she said, I want to put this down as a word, well, here is the challenge. What do you do today to improve everybody's life? So there's somebody I don't want to work with. There's somebody, for whatever reasons, we're at each other's throats. How about today I set that aside and actually think, I wouldn't be working with that person if there wasn't something for us both to share.
The National Remembrance Service on March 15th will now be held at Horncastle Arena in Christchurch instead of Hagley Park as initially planned. And as the anniversary approaches, Mohammed Rizwan says members of the community do still talk about the attack and don't feel the need of a special day to remember what happened on March 15th last year. In Dunedin, the South Today. The government has announced further funding of almost $2 million to install theft deterrent fog cannons across the country. Fog cannons, such as this one activated in a South Dunedin dairy in February, drive away armed offenders with a loud high-pitched noise and dense fog. So far there have been 29 activations across the country of the cannons to successfully prevent armed robberies. More than 500 dairies, liquor stores and petrol stations are already fitted out with fog cannons. The extra funding will enable a further 470 shops to be equipped with the devices. A national comedy competition is giving Otago's up-and-coming comedians a chance to perform on the national stage for the first time. The Raw Comedy Quest has been running for 25 years, and for the first time, the competition is being held in the southern region.
It's been a rite of passage for Kiwi comedians for the past 25 years, and now finally Otago comedians have their chance to show their wares in front of a home crowd as part of the nationwide Raw Comedy Quest. Dunedin Comedy's Ruben Crisp says the local talent is ready and has what it takes to make it all the way.
This year's the very first time we've been hosting it in Otago. We've been running heats in Queenstown, Wanaka and in Dunedin, and we've got the semi-finals coming up. And the winner of the Otago finals we will be sending up to Auckland to do battle with the big dogs.
Crisp says the comedy scene in Dunedin has been grown in recent years, and the decision by the Raw organisers to hold the competition in the region for the first time was testament to that.
There's a lot of grassroots budding talent here in Dunedin and the wider Otago region. It's very good to give them the opportunity to give them a stage to perform on, give them an audience to listen to, especially of this calibre.
Comedians have gone on to bigger and better things after first trying out their material at the Raw Comedy Quest include professional stand-ups Guy Williams and Ursula Carlson.
The main impetus behind hosting Raw for the people up in Auckland is to help cultivate and draw in new talent, because the Kiwi sense of humour is prolific.
Crisp says the quality of comedy being produced in Dunedin and Otago was improving all the time, and for those interested in stepping on stage, there was no better time than now.
It's honestly a brilliant time for Dunedin comedy right now. There's heaps of new stuff going on all the time.
The Dunedin Regional semi-finals are being held in the new Athenaeum Theatre at 8 p.m. tomorrow night, with the Otago Regional Final being held as part of the Dunedin Fringe Festival on March 28th. In Dunedin, the South today.
A person has been taken to Dunedin Hospital by helicopter with critical injuries after crashing into a fence in Southland this morning. Police were called to the single vehicle crash on Glendu Road near Gore at 6:30 a.m. Fire and Emergency New Zealand and St John were also called to the scene. A Gore District Council social media post stated a bypass was in place from Lady Charlton Road to Glendu Road and was set to remain in place until the crash site had been cleared. Cyclists planning a ride during their next summer holidays in central Otago will have a cycle trail available to them. The 54-kilometre Lake Dunstan cycle trail between Cromwell and Clyde is scheduled to be finished by November.
The new cycle trail between Cromwell and Clyde, travelling on the left-hand side of Lake Dunstan seen here, is set to be completed this summer. The 55-kilometre trail is part of the $26 million interconnected cycleway traversing over 500 kilometres of central Otago.
So we're utilising a lot of the contact energy four-wheel drive tracks and the farmers' four-wheel drive tracks, so we're already doing that there, and then we're just linking all the bits together, the parts of the puzzle together.
The flat section of the Lake Dunstan Trail, from Smith's Way north of Cromwell to Bannockburn, is already in use, and diggers are completing the route running through the more difficult terrain of the Cromwell Gorge. Trails Network Trust spokeswoman Janine Wood says about 6 different bridges are required along this section of the trail, with one even being a suspension bridge.
In some cases we're building some interesting bluff bridges, construction things, which is quite exciting, and the engineers and the construction people are quite excited about that, as well as the local community that have been seeing it from the lake and from the road on the other side of the lake, so it's all exciting, it's all happening.
Wood says the 2.5 metre wide cycleway is designed to be suitable for beginners and families, and the surface will be the same material as what track users around Cromwell are already making use of.
It's not just a whole lot of gravel, and you'll have testament to what people around Cromwell that have been thoroughly enjoying it, people that are getting out on their electric wheelchairs, and people with Zimmer frames, buggies. They're just so delighted that they can now access the waterfront.
The target of the completion of the cycle track along Lake Dunstan is this coming November, just in time for summer. In Cromwell, the South Today.
And still to come on the South Today, we meet Lawrence's brand new fire chief and have a look at the art of Central Otago artist Julie Grieg. See you after the break.
A poorly maintained heat pump can lose up to 35% of its output. The Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner team are experts. Their specially developed chemical wash is totally biodegradable. Call Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner and get the job done by the professionals.
Wrens are Otago's painting, tiling and plastering experts. Offering a free measure and quote, Wrens is a name you can trust to get the job done right. Call Wrens today on 477 9384 or visit wrens.co.nz.
Hasn't been much of a summer, has it? Until now. It's hot, it's getting warm, it's great. This is the time of year we love this weather. So we have a lot of surplus stock and we want to clear it at real hot prices. 50% off anything that's short sleeve. T-shirts, short sleeve shirts, polos, everything short sleeve, half price.
Every reason, every season, we're proud to dress the region. Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
At Alex Campbell Menswear, get them while it's hot.
Step into Ross Cafe, located at Ross Home in North East Valley. We have a great range of hot and cold food, friendly service and a warm atmosphere that you are sure to enjoy. We look forward to serving you soon at Ross Cafe.
If you're at risk of developing melanoma skin cancer, you owe it to yourself to have a mole map. Mole map is coming to your area. Phone today to make an appointment. It could save your life.
Dunedin, delivering quality, stylish garage doors in Dunedin for over 17 years. New doors, replacement doors and maintenance are all part of Garrador's quality service. Garrador Dunedin offers a full range of modern quality doors to suit any home. Come visit the team.
You've seen us in the street, now find us online. Check out shopon.org.nz. We have all sorts of treasures, from retro and vintage clothing to antiques, homewares and accessories. New items added every week. We're open 24/7.
Heaven Sent Pet Cremations knows that losing a pet is like losing a family member, and we have many special ways for you to keep their memory dear to your heart. From caskets, remembrance pendants to remembrance spheres. Call Heaven Sent Pet Cremations today.
No mai anō. Welcome back. The potential privatisation of Port Otago was up for discussion at the Otago Regional Council today. The ORC-owned company is one of 5 fully council-owned ports across New Zealand and is valued at over $500 million. Councillors today discussed the sale of the asset, which has delivered close on $200 million in dividends since 1990. An independent review of the port has suggested 4 alternative ownership models. These include a private sale or a free float of up to 49% of the shares. Full coverage of today's ORC Council meeting will be available in tomorrow's Otago Daily Times. Jude Patterson is a woman who can really stand the heat. The Lawrence Volunteer Fire Brigade's new chief is the town's first female chief in its 127 years of operation.
For the first time in over a century, the Lawrence Volunteer Fire Brigade has a woman in charge. Jude Patterson is the South Otago town's new Chief Fire Officer, and she's the first woman in the brigade's 127-year history to rise to top rank. The town's team of 15 firefighters currently includes 3 women, and Patterson says having females volunteer to fight flames and attend car wrecks is nothing new.
Back in the 70s we'd had female firefighters come through and had actually gotten up to ranks of deputy chief.
Patterson says she joined a local brigade in 2011 after the fire chief at the time invited her to try it out.
Firefighting for me was not even a consideration. I had never thought of being a firefighter, but came down to some station trainings, found that I really enjoyed it.
She says being a rural firefighter gets you more involved with the community, and she wants that aspect to grow under her watch.
Being a small rural community and also an ageing population, we do actually struggle with volunteers. But as time's going on, we're getting a lot of the locals are coming through again. We've also got a lot of diversity within the brigade. So we've got an American, Scotsman and Welshman in the brigade, as well as 3 women. So we're very, very diverse.
Currently, women make up almost 20% of volunteer crews across New Zealand. In Lawrence, the South Today.
Maniatoto-based artist Julie Grieg began painting professionally more than 20 years ago. Since then, she's developed a niche with paintings of stockmen on horseback recreating the days before quad bikes and GPS.
The recent Maniatoto show in Ranfurly included the usual static displays of flowers, preserved fruit, and even a beautifully iced cake in the shape of a rabbit, as well as artist Julie Grieg, demonstrating some of her creative techniques. Nearly all of her work reflects her love of the landscapes where she lives in the Maniatoto.
This is a view from the road towards the Styx area of our valley, past beyond Patira and probably beyond Pairau. The rain was just coming in here.
After 20 years of painting professionally, Grieg achieved the prestigious status of Master Pastelist in 2017. But she also creates with several other mediums, including oils, acrylics, graphite and charcoal, at times using the technique of underpainting to provide a colour glow underneath the main work.
Underneath I have an underpainting and a colour of coral to warm it up. And so in places I've let that underpainting show through, really thin paint, and there's my golden red underpainting.
Many of her works depict scenes of shepherds clad in oilskin coats, mustering stock, often with a horse in tow and a dog or 3 by their side. But in other works she finds an empty landscape is best.
It was just a big empty landscape, apart from the ducks that were on the pond, but I tried to paint them in, but they looked silly, so I left them out.
Julie Grieg's works are regularly shown in Central Otago galleries, and her prints are available for purchase online. In Ranfurly, the South Today.
And after the break on the South Today, speed fans are in for a real treat as we watch hydroplane boats reach eye-watering velocity, and we have a look at your midweek weather. See you soon.
Wrens are Otago's painting, tiling and plastering experts. Offering a free measure and quote, Wrens is a name you can trust to get the job done right. Call Wrens today on 477 9384 or visit wrens.co.nz.
If you're at risk of developing melanoma skin cancer, you owe it to yourself to have a mole map. Mole map is coming to your area. Phone today to make an appointment. It could save your life.
Step into Shop on Carroll and discover a shop full of treasures. We have a fantastic range of vintage and retro clothes, upmarket clothing labels, collectible items, beautiful jewellery, quality linen and the best range of vintage haberdashery.
A poorly maintained heat pump can lose up to 35% of its output. The Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner team are experts. Their specially developed chemical wash is totally biodegradable. Call Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner and get the job done by the professionals.
Heaven Sent Pet Cremations knows that losing a pet is like losing a family member, and we have many special ways for you to keep their memory dear to your heart. From caskets, remembrance pendants to remembrance spheres. Call Heaven Sent Pet Cremations today.
Hasn't been much of a summer, has it? Until now. It's hot, it's getting warm, it's great. This is the time of year we love this weather. So we have a lot of surplus stock and we want to clear it at real hot prices. 50% off anything that's short sleeve. T-shirts, short sleeve shirts, polos, everything short sleeve, half price.
Every reason, every season, we're proud to dress the region. Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
At Alex Campbell Menswear, get them while it's hot.
Step into Op Shop on St Andrew and discover a place with plenty of bargains for yourself, your friends and the whole family. For a fabulous range of economy and upmarket clothing, accessories, books, shoes and more. Shop with us and support your community.
Extreme places and extreme animals. But some animals are more extreme than others. Join us as we count down to find the most unusual and the most extraordinary on Animal Planet's The Most Extreme.
Thanks for staying with us. Hydroplane boats reached speeds of more than 250 kilometres an hour on Lake Dunstan over the weekend. The speedy watercraft were competing in the final leg of the 4-round Hydro Thunder series, which started in Lake Taupo earlier this year.
Grand Prix hydroplanes reached extreme speeds on the waters of Lake Dunstan over the weekend, with Invercargill-based boat pilot Jason Haggerty attesting to the muscle power of the craft.
So we've got a GP hydroplane, which is a race boat running on a pocket of air, which you can see behind us, and it's got a 1300 horsepower Chevy pushing along at probably about 150 to 160 mile an hour.
The Lake Dunstan event was the final of 4 rounds on this summer's Hydro Thunder series.
Today's our final race for our series, which is the Hydro Thunder series, which we started in Taupo back in January. And also we're racing for the A.E. Baker, which is an Australasian trophy that I won last year at Karapiro.
Haggerty's boat is called Lady Liz, being named after his grandmother, and was just one of 9 Grand Prix boats competing in the 2-day event.
At the moment I'm sitting in 7th, which I've got a fair bit of work to do to get up the top, but yeah, this season hasn't really gone our way, so we'll try again next season and give it a hit.
In the end, Haggerty managed to climb up the rankings and finish 4th. In Cromwell, the South Today.
And now recapping tonight's top stories on the South Today. Nearly a year on from the Christchurch mosque attacks which killed 51 people, a Dunedin Muslim leader says racism is still prevalent in society. Some of the acts at this year's Fringe Festival are promising to tickle people's funny bones with local amateur comedy. And cyclists planning a ride during their next summer holidays in central Otago will have a cycle trail available for them. Time now for a look at what's happening in tomorrow's Otago Day Times. Welcome, the editor, Mr. Barry Stewart.
G'day. Hello, Daryl.
Hello.
The owner of a terrace dog minding facility is being investigated by the Queenstown Lakes District Council after 2 dogs in her care escaped and killed 43 sheep on a high country station. Coronavirus, the misery continues, so it is having a significant impact on tourism in the south. So we talked to some operators about the situation and how they're coping. And a further blow to the community with a roll of 4 pupils. The Flag Swamp School in Wakawaiti has finally closed. Well, it hasn't closed yet. At the end of term 1 it'll close, so a sign of the times there. ICC Women's World Cup, the details of that, of course it's being hosted in New Zealand, details of that were released today, and Dunedin has a number of matches there, so that's good news for sporting fans. Some good news for Dunedin consumers. Dunedin is leading the way in southern regions for lower petrol prices, so
that's excellent news.
Well, it is if you're a Dunedin commuter, so yeah, buy it there first. And of course, the work that is anticipated in George Street in Dunedin, contractors, 3 companies, a trio of 3 companies have been chosen to carry out the work in George Street. So that's laying the fixing the pipes and doing whatever. So that's going to be an interesting situation to work through, isn't it?
And a certain amount of work and may cause some traffic delays.
Possibly could, yes, let's wait and see.
Excellent.
All
Thanks,
right.
Barry.
Thanks, Daryl.
All that and more in tomorrow's ODT. Time now for a look at the weather.
Tonight's weather proudly brought to you by Mole Map.
Beginning with the southern view taken of one of the stall holders at today's University Market Day. Looking at the situation, a fine spell begins tomorrow with plenty of sunshine and little if any rain expected across the region for the next week or so. Starting off at the northwest of the South Island, Greymouth and Westport are looking at maybe a cloud or 2 and 21 degrees. Across to the northeast, Nelson and Blenheim can expect a similar day with a chance of a cloud and 20 degrees. Heading down to Canterbury, Kaikoura can expect clear blue skies and 17. Christchurch and Ashburton should prepare for maybe a cloud on an otherwise blue sky and 18 degrees. Heading down to the southern towns, those in the Catlins, Balclutha and Lumsden and Gore can all expect light winds and a fine day with just 16 degrees for everyone except the Catlins, where it'll be 15 degrees. Heading to central Otago, fine with light winds across this area as well. Queenstown and Wanaka can expect 18 degrees, 19 for Alexandra, and Tiano you should reach 15 degrees under a crystalline sky. To the northern towns, where it's a similar picture to the rest of the island with light winds and clear skies for all. On the coast, Timaru reaches 15 and 16 for Oamaru. It's due to be a bit warmer inland, Twizel and Omarama both set to get 19 degrees. In Dunedin, becoming fine overnight with an overnight low of 8 degrees. Mostly fine tomorrow with a possibility of some cloud on a cool, light southwesterly day. High of 14 and a low of 5. The mostly fine weather set to continue on Friday with northeasterlies, a high of 15 and a low of 10. And in Invercargill, fine tonight with an overnight low of just 5 degrees, clear skies tomorrow with light winds, a high of 14 and a low of 4, moderate westerlies on Friday with sunny periods, a high of 16 and a low of 7. And that's all from the South Today team for this Wednesday. For the latest news from the southern region, head online to odt.co.nz and follow Channel 39 on Facebook and YouTube. Hope you have a great evening and fantastic rest of the week. Ka kite anō.
This bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.